Howdy y'all, it's Cody from the Keepers of Nerdom. I wasn't actually planning on a video today, but something came out this morning that was epic for Warhammer 40k. It was the full-on, like, here's what's changed for the rules coming out, and also, like, from what I can tell, it says this document contains the most up-to-date point values that should be used in your match play games covering all the factions of Warhammer 40k, which I think means this immediately now takes the place for point values for everything in it for all factions. And needless to say, like, this is exciting. This is good stuff. What we're going to do is totally redneck way to go through this, but I'm going to put it up here on my computer screen and flip my camera, and we're going to just go over it, okay? And so, we're going to talk through it. We'll go through Necrons first because obviously I play them, so I care about them first off, just whatnot. And there are actually some pretty small changes. So I want to talk about Votann, try to look at a little bit at Grey Knights and Custodes, since that's what my friends play as well. And I don't know about the Astra Militarum much yet, and Tau. So I haven't looked through those, but at least go through those and look through some point values because it's pretty big. So let's look together. All right, we're going to get this all adjusted here. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting challenge here to do this, but if need be, we'll just hold it as B. Okay, so point values are as follows right here. I know, again, this is very, very redneck way to do this, but I think it's really important notes because it's going to be game changing. Scoot this over just a bit and unplug that. All right, let it freak out for a second as it's trying to find itself. Okay, so let's go to Necrons, which are on page 30. Now, page 30 is pretty epic. I highlighted actually separately when I printed off all the changes because I was really wanting to make sure I caught everything. Everything on the first column over here, this first big column, has not changed in any way. Nothing. There was nothing highlighted to say whatnot has changed. Now, you'll notice anything in red is actually the changes to point values. So actually, the Necrons didn't change drastically here. What they did change in is they lost the ability to get OBSEC and 6-inch pregame movement at the same time for a custom dynasty. But also, I'm really curious, like, with this new Arcs of Omen detachment thing that we have to use, can we actually put Silent King in there with my other stuff and still use a different dynasty? I don't know. I don't know how that works. It's very confusing because I keep reading it and I read it one way and then I read it the other way and not sure what it means. But anyway, we go up here. Royal Warden, no change. Scorpec Lord, no change. Technomancer, no change. Nothing up here as well. The Cryptic Arcana, nothing. The Immortals did not have any change. I was a little shocked by that because if anything was going to change, I expected them to get -1 points just to be a little bit helpful. But I was not expecting the value given here. The Necron Warriors were 13 points, and they have now gone down to 11. And that means from a full 20-point model group, you have 260 points typically, right? 130 for each group, up to then to 20. So 260. Now that's down to 220. 220 versus 260. That's 40 extra points for something else somewhere else. That's pretty epic, actually. Doesn't sound like a lot, but for a Necron player, that gives options, right? That's a Resurrection Orb and some other stuff. Pretty cool. And maybe I'd actually take some Cryptic Arcana finally. So nothing up here changed until you get down to the death marks. They went down to 13 points per model. I believe they were, actually, let's just check real quick. Nope. I've been looking at all the stuff because this is stuff. Okay, they were 15 points per model, and they are now down to 13. So they lost 2 points there. That's actually pretty big, too, for them. That makes them actually more enticing. And I made Immortals out of my box of Combat Patrol. And now I'm going, that actually makes those an interesting option. Again, nothing changed. Triarch Stalker, so that went to 110. The Triarch Stalker, by the way, Wahapedia is fantastic. I just keep getting more and more impressed with it as I use it. Just insane. Like, this is really, really cool. So, Triarch Stalker. Why can't I find that? There it is. It's an elite. To my mind, it would be a heavy support, but apparently it's not. So Triarch Stalker is now down to 110 points. It was 120. So a 10-point decrease. It's not much, but it adds up because then all of a sudden the Twin Gauss Heavy Cannons for 15 extra points means only 5 points over what it used to cost. That's pretty cool. So this is good stuff. We have a page 2. Scarab Swarms, unfortunately, didn't get any points decreases. Didn't really expect that, but man, that would have been awesome, right? not till we get down to Tomb Blades. And this is a small change, right? 18 points per model. They had already been reduced from 25 down to 20. And so we're Tomb Blades just keep shrinking. I think they're starting to realize, like, Tomb Blades do not have a whole lot of guns on them compared to some of the modern bikes. So it's 20 points down to 18. 2 extra points. Again, doesn't add up like a lot right away, but when you've got 9 of them, right, that's 18 points that you're saving for something else. And that's pretty cool because the twin Gauss blasters do increase their cost. So now it's instead of 25 points per model with 10 twin Gauss blasters. And these are now more useful again because Armor of Contempt is gone. Really big stuff. This is good. Now we're talking about 23 points instead of 25. That's helpful. It's cool. So this is good. Let's see what else. Triarch Praetorians, they went down to 20. And this doesn't always mean that everything went down, but I think for all the Necron stuff that changed, it all went down, actually. Uh-oh. Oh, it's already loaded back here. It just didn't load. 22 is what they were. So they did decrease to 20, which is cool. They're still not a unit that most people are going to take. Whatever. The next one, I do know this one off the top of my head. The Doomsday Arc, 145 from 160. That's good. We were just talking about that in another video that'll be released sometime in the near future about damage. And needless to say, like 15 points off, that helps. It really does. Ghost Arc goes down as well. I don't know what a Ghost Arc is because I don't know if I've ever used a Ghost Arc yet. I have used the Doomsday Arc, but not the Ghost Arc. Where is dedicated transport? There it is. Ghost Arc was 130 and it's down to 115. Okay, so 15 points off as well. Cool. Nothing down here. Didn't really expect that because Doom Scythe has been reduced quite a bit. The Monolith, I believe, was 300 points. So that's pretty cool because while IPD, this just came out today, so it hasn't been updated, which is actually really good to compare with. So 300 down to 270. That's awesome. I've been more and more tempted on a Monolith anyway, and I think this will be a fun change. Obelisk, obviously Obelisk from everything that you study in the game is just kind of meh anyway. And still with this, I would say don't use it. So 300 points down to 270. I'd say the Monolith's actually half worth it versus that. Titan King didn't change, and Tesseract Vault is down to 360 from, was it 400? Let's see. Yeah, there it is, 400. So 40 points off there. And Convergence of Dominion. So down here, 100 per unit. So 80 points. Weird. 80 points, so 20 off. Cool. Overall, I'm pleased with it. I don't feel like it was something that people are going to be like, wow, that was really strong, other than maybe the Necron Warriors, because that's going to be felt. Yeah, that was pretty interesting. So let's go through the other side of this, the Leagues of Votann, because they're another small faction that had some pretty, quite a few changes, right? Let's go through data sheets on, hang on, we're going to have to do data sheets, leagues, yeah, there we go. All right, so thankfully it's not a very big data sheet. That's the good news, all right? And I apologize if I'm moving because I'm getting excited. Okay, so first off, we've got the call is now 90 points. What was it initially? It was 80. So they go up 10 points there. Okay, that's a pretty significant increase, right? And I mean, if you've played against the Leagues of Votann, like these guys are no joke. So Einherjar Champion says it's 120 now. It was 110, so another 10 points there. Again, that's a big jump, but it's also these guys hit hard, and when they get to you, and some of their range stuff is just nasty too. Grimnir, that's their psychic guy. Yeah, it is 90 was what it was, and now he's 100. Cool, but we're talking about, like, I say cool because I fought against him, but I'm sure for my friend, like, this does feel hurtful, The Hearthkin Warriors are 30 or 13 points per model, and you could have up to 20 of those. So now they're 260. It's like Necron Warriors now. And that's what's interesting. Like, if you compared those to a Necron Warrior, they're definitely more capable than a Necron Warrior as far as what they can do in a lot of ways, but they also don't resurrect. So there's that. So they were 12 points, now they're 13. So I've actually gone down in points to where I'm less than this guy, and he's gone up to where I was. That's pretty interesting. The Einhir Hearthguards did not change. The Chthonian Berserkers went to 33 points. Okay, 30. So they get a 3-point increase and then go up to 10 of them. That's, wow. So normally 300 points for 10 models, and now it's 330. So a 30-point increase for a full 10 models. That's pretty big. One that I was kind of shocked at, actually, the Hernkin Pioneers, their bikes, no points changes. I was expecting, of all things, that to get hit more than anything. The Sagittar, the little dune buggy, does not get hit at all. I was a little shocked at that one-ish. It's not nearly as weirdly, not broken, but crazy sauce as the Hecaton Land Fortress, and we'll talk about that. Brokir Thunderkin, I don't think my friend has those yet, but at least as far as I know, I haven't fought against them, but I'm not sure. They were 40. They went down 30 to 35 points, so they're 5 points off. So something about them, people weren't taking them. And the Hecaton Land Fortress was, I think it's 300, and now it's up by 10 points. Okay. It was 300, it's up by 10. So across the board, this just means, I'm kind of excited in the sense that, ironically, my friend can actually play, and John, if you've seen our videos, he can play actually more point value in that sense. Like, I know he's not going to be excited about that, but it actually means our games can be a little bit bigger, but that also means I'm going to have more models on the field. So I'm excited in that sense, but I know it's not for him actually beneficial. This affects them pretty drastically. So yeah, this was big. Let's go to Custodes, because that's also a smaller thing, because I'm not sure how to talk through the Grey Knights, because it's sweeping changes. We'll try to go through it, but it's pretty big, and that's why I'm not going to go through all of this right now. But okay, good news is the Custodes, I guess, if they're core, I think any infantry can now become OBSEC, which is really a big just change in general. So that's big. So first off, this whole column, nothing changes here. And I hope everything is coming in. I'll come a little bit closer with the camera there. There we go. So nothing's changed here. So Trajan is 200 points still. They have not changed him. Custodian Guard, not changed. Prosecutors. So I have no idea about these. Let's go... Custodes data sheets. Let's go. All right, so prosecutors. Normally they are 12 points, and they are now 11 points per model, so 1 point off. I mean, it's not much, but it does add up, right? Elites, not a lot changes here. That's fine. Vigilators, 12 points per model. I think this is all more like the ladies that join them that fight against stuff for them. I don't know, that are like anti-psychic. Is that who these are? Yeah, Daughters of the Abyss. That's exactly who those are. Because everything else usually in their stuff is crazy expensive. It almost feels like they're trying to encourage using these. Are these technically infantry? They are, and they're core, so they would work for this. Yeah, they're really wanting to encourage this. This is cool. I'm actually excited for John with this. This will be good stuff. John, thumbs up, buddy. This is cool. It just makes your Custodes a little bit better, and I'm excited for you on that, because this has been needed, because we were feeling that pain for you. Your bikes were strong, but the rest of your stuff just didn't always feel like it could get to places fast enough. When it got there, it killed stuff, but it just took too long. Vigilators. Sorry, I'm getting distracted because this is fascinating. All right, Vigilators. What's all this stuff underneath? Vigilators, 14 points per model. Daughters of the Abyss, it's the anti-psychic stuff again. They're down to 12 points per model. 2 points drop. That doesn't sound like a lot, but it's significant. Now, it's harder in this faction just because everything's so big and expensive except for these small things. And that's the only changes in here. The Witch Seekers. One thing to note, though, Grey Knights, and I don't know if Custodes counted for this as well, their weapons basically are just free. And I'm going to have to ask John about that for sure, because I'm not seeing a lot of them on here, except for a few exceptions like the shield, salvo launcher, great blade. So if they're not on here, it may be that they're free or they just don't have the options. So the last one is the Witch Seekers, which would again be the anti-psychic phase. So 14 points normally, and now they're down to 12. Cool. Like that's big. Yeah. I don't know. Officio Assassinorum? What is that? It's got 4 units? What is that? Huh, weird. I don't know what those are. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to have to ask John about this one because this is interesting. Really interesting. Well, what exactly are these? Do they have to pay any points? So actually, let's just look real quick. Custodian guards. Those are your troops. So custodian guard. None of it cost points anyway because the Misericordia has already been added as a just free thing anyway. The Presidium shield is still a thing that they have to pay for. Yeah, so nothing changed there. So I'm guessing they didn't. I'll have to look with him to see, because they had a pretty limited thing anyway, because their blade and their spear was shooting in melee anyway. Ironically, like Custodians, their shooting kind of stinks, but it's their melee that you're playing them for anyway. So cool. I think overall these are good things. I hope he actually starts getting into some of these as well, because it seems like they're really wanting to encourage you to use this stuff, which totally fine with that. Because I think they're actually really good units to run up the field or put in Rhino and just harass, but also now, protect against psychic, but now they're also cheaper, and like these have flamers, auto hits the target, and then their infantry core, so they could actually take stuff off of things, and they're not going to survive very long, but it doesn't really matter. Like, these are good in the sense of they're just going to be obnoxious and they're going to have to be dealt with. This is cool. This is a good thing. All right, so we're going to go to Grey Knights data sheets. All right, let's try this. And like I said, I'm not going to go through everything here because there's so many big changes. I did look a little bit at the Adeptus Sororitas because someday I want to try to get into them and build them as a faction, but money and time. So I'm still trying to finish all my Necrons, especially the Tomb Blades. Painting them little boogers are time consuming. So we have got a huge swath of changes. I mean, we are talking, it's a page full and there's a lot of stuff. And you'll notice a lot of these don't have weapons. And we were talking about it, me and my family member that plays this section, about this, like, do the special weapons count as points off? Because apparently most of their weapons now don't cost points unless they're still listed on here. And I have so many questions because, like, right here, the Nemesis Dread Knight, it still has the weapons listed, so they still cost points. And does that mean other stuff, it costs points because it was already listed on here or not? And we'll go up and I'll show you a little bit what I'm talking about here in a bit. But let's just go through really quickly and see the changes. Brother Captain. Okay, this is going to be the hard one. You know what? We're gonna separate this out. So, Brother Captain. I just think that's the silliest name ever, but it's funny. So normally 110. He's now 100 points. And nothing on here weapon-wise costs points, but then war gear options can be replaced with one weapon from the special weapons list. And see, there are special weapons with point values, and I don't know if those cost points still or not. That's what I'm not sure. They may not. And if not, that's kind of insane because not only did this drop 10 points, it also dropped an extra amount of points if you just get to put on stuff for free. And I know it's not a direct drop in points, but it means you can get better stuff for no points increase. And that's insane because then all of a sudden your value goes up potentially, like if you wanted a side cannon, by 20 points from what it was just yesterday, right? Brother Captain Stern, he was 120. He's now down 110, so 10 points off. Brotherhood Champion, 70 points. He's now 60, 10 points again. And that's a smaller model as far as point value. Geez. Brotherhood Light Chaplain. Chaplain's not on here. That's weird. Okay, Librarian. Well, that Sea of the Stormbolter for the Librarian costs 5 points, but now that's obviously free. So Brotherhood Librarian is down to 95 points from 105, so 10 off plus a Stormbolter. Yeah. That's kind of weird that it costs an extra 5 points. Why just not equip it with it since it's its standard weapon? You know what I mean? It's bizarre. I've always wondered about stuff like that. Yeah, so we've got that one. Brotherhood Tech Marine. 80 points on here. He is now 70. And there's 10-point drops across the board. You're going to be able to field an entire extra unit of stuff that's not small. Like, that's insanity. Castellan Crow. There's upgrades. I think they still have to pay for their upgrades, so that's good at least. Castellan Crow was 90 points, and he is now 85. Only a 5-point decrease, right? I think if Games Workshop was smart, because I still want my family member to get the points decrease on this, totally. 5 points to start with, just to see what it would do, because that's going to change the game drastically. I know they lost Armor of Contempt, but even 5 points dropping from each of these things, it has a big impact on what you can field. And then in some ways survivability just because of more models on the field, because you're more firepower and more psychic and more melee, right? Grand Master was 135, drops to 120. There's a 15-point decrease. Holy cow. All right. Yeah, yikes. Nothing. Grandmaster in Nemesis Dread Knight. And see, again, here's those weapons still put right here. Very interesting. Grandmaster Voldus. Where is this? Okay, there's the Dread Knight guy. We're not worried about him. And none of those weapons have changed. Grandmaster Voldus was 150. Now he's 135. There's a 15-point drop. My word. Oh, Chaplain. The Chaplain was right here. So he was 110. Now he's 100. My goodness, they are dropping like rocks. Like, this is insane. Okay, and Caldor Drago. Sorry, I'm just scrolling right here. It's just they're all mostly in a row. 180, now to 165. 15-point drop again. Okay, Brotherhood Terminator Squad was 40 points. 35 points per model. 5 points off. You know, my Necron stuff doesn't seem very strong compared to what they're getting over here. The Strike Squad was 22 points. 20 points per model. 2 points off. That's big. Not as big, you know, obviously not as big as the Brotherhood Terminator Squad. That's insane. That is insane. All right. Brotherhood Apothecary. Let's go to our elites. Yeah, we'll come back to that. Let's go to the elites. Brotherhood Apothecary was 100 points, is now 90 at a 10-point decrease again. Plus, the Demon Hammer still costs points. Okay, he doesn't get anything else. So actually, yeah, he was just a 10-point decrease, but still, that's insane. Brotherhood Ancient is right here, was 100 points down to 90. Dreadnought didn't change. Paladin Ancient. Dreadnought didn't change. Paladin Ancient was 110 down to 100. Paladin Squad didn't change. Purifier Squad didn't change. That's good, because those are things that I know my family member runs, at least the Paladin Squad. I don't know about Purifier. I don't remember. I think so. Servitors didn't change. Venerable Dreadnought didn't change. Interceptor Squad. Fast attack. You have one fast attack. That's hilarious. 26 points down to 24. So 2-point decrease. Again, like, these are the drops that I would expect. All right, Land Raider Crusader, Land Raider Redeemer, Nemesis Dread Knight, nothing changed. Purgation Squad, nothing changed. Dedicated Transports. Razorback. Let's just talk about this for a second, because this is the thing that I'm confused about, and I'm scared a little bit because it's insane. Okay, so Razorback didn't change point cost. It's still 100 points, right? Razorback, 100 points. Oh, there you go. 100 points right there. Boom. It didn't change, but yet it did if none of these weapons cost points anymore, because the Twin Assault Cannon was supposed to be 25 points, Stormbolter, and these, 100 kilometers are still 5 points. This, 5 extra points, 10 extra points. Those, okay, that's not very much, but 25 points for free? Granted, not necessarily the greatest of guns, but that's 12 shots. That's a lot more shots and way better than a rapid fire 2 gun for 5 points. Obviously, this gun is very similar to that in the sense of damage, but yet this does way more to my Necron warriors than this gun does. And that was supposed to be 25 points. So I'm really curious what's going on here. So I don't know, because we still have these point costs right here, but they're for different guns. I'm very intrigued by this, and I really don't know what to make of it. Let me know in the comments below what you're taking from this, because even the twin last cannon, and that's not a small gun. And if that's free, this is crazy. This is insane. These two guns just being free is insane. Like, granted, that was only 10 points, but that's strong. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. So Grey Knights, did they change drastically? Yes, they did. And, you know, I would love to look through more of this, but this is already a pretty big video as far as just information. So let me know in the comments below what you think of the points changes, because there's other stuff clearly. Go look for the points update. Let's go to the... I'm trying to remember where I was. I don't remember, but just go doing a search for the Warhammer 40K points data slate or something like that, and you'll find it just posted today, and it's epic. Let me know in the comments below what you think about all this. I know this has changed things drastically for me as a Necron player, just in going, man, I have a little, I say drastically, even that extra 40 points gives me so many more options for adding extra things somewhere, because the 40 points plus some Tomb Blades drops, all of a sudden I can have another Locust Destroyer in my squad. Like, that's big. So let me know in the comments below what you're most excited about, what you're nervous about, what's going on here. You know, I'm still trying to figure out, can Silent King even go with my detachment stuff? I don't know, because the rules are a little bit weird on that. But anyway, I've been Cody from Keepers Nerdom. Take care. Bye.